Before the paper, I knew they would say, and I knew by the looks on their faces. Niggas mad cause I did what they wouldn't do, say what I couldn't do. Look, bitch, I made it, I made it. Came a long way from the basement. Body on me, I ain't playing, y'all. These niggas ain't playing fair. If I would've known better, I'd do better. Took some mess and I learned from a new level. Bought some new shovels and some new stressors, and I'm ready for war like whoever. They counted me out, I can't count it all. Cause little nigga, I ball. I put them points on the board every time that I shoot, I'ma score, and you know I'm a dog. I'm really appalled, don't need no applause. I know I'm a legend, my name on the wall. First record with platinum, my second with gold. Did it independent, no deal at all. And they said it's impossible. Got them high cause I did them without them though. I'm the same nigga, slept on the carpet floor. Even back then I knew that I'd be poppin', so I really ain't trippin'. I swear I ain't trippin'. I got in my feelings and got me a million. Couple people I thought would be with me, but they not, so it's fuck all them niggas. And then you know.
Yeah, man. Hello, world. What's good with it, man? Happy Juneteenth to everybody out there for sure. What's good, Boxing Guru? My guy, what's going on with it? Stephen Elder Mac, my brother, what's happening? K-Rod, what's good with your family? Hot Tip Shalom, what's up with you? What's up with you? Damn, I know you're going to say Hotep Shalom. I know you're going to get on my head about it. I do it every time. My bad, man. But I hope everybody is well. Well. What a magnificent morning to start off Juneteenth, man. You know, what a magnificent morning. Listen, man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm still a little upset because I got bumped off my flight. You know, I got bumped off my flight to Japan yesterday. So I got bumped off my flight. I was definitely supposed to be there with my little brother, man, and you know, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all good. It's going to be plenty more fights, you know, and things of that nature. But it's nothing like being there for your loved one, you know what I'm saying? Especially, you know, like I told you guys, I've been knowing, you know, Lil B. I know him as Lil B. I've been knowing Lil B since, you know, he was 14, 15 years old. I've been sparring with him since he was 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? So for me, you know, I'm still upset because, you know, when something go down like that, you know, you go to war with your boy, no matter what country or city they in. But it's all good, man. I got bumped off my flight, but I definitely was supposed to be there. But it's all good, man. You know, I hated it. But shit, what you guys saw today, man, you guys can feel free to let me know in the chat what you think. But I'm gonna just go ahead and get off what I've been thinking. You know what I mean? I remember when the fight was first signed, and Brian was in the gym training. This is before he went off to Big Bear to train, and I was in there. It was me, Brian, his pops. Yeah, it was just me, Brian, and his pops, and we were just talking about the fight. And then I started looking at the fight, and of course, you know, me and Big B, which is senior, we got to talking. You know, we're just talking about different things we saw and see. And I was like, "Well, check this and make sure this." He's like, "Bro, I got it covered. I promise you I got it covered." He like, "Check out this fight right here." You know, he was just telling me like, "Check out this fight right here. Check out this fight right here. Boom, boom, boom. You're gonna see what I'm saying." So, you know, we was all on the same page. You know, I ain't trying to, you know, step in and, you know, none of that, you know, but I know Big Brian Senior, he gonna talk his shit regardless. You know what I'm saying? I think people got to understand. Well, what I do know is people got to understand he's been in the game for over 30 years. You know what I'm saying? And what you're seeing now is what he's installed into his son. And this, you know, like I said before, I've been sparring this kid since he was 14, 15 years old. So I definitely seen the uprise. I knew back when he was 14, 15, he had bricks in his hands. You know what I'm saying? So I've been seeing this. I've been witnessing this. Like I told you guys before, even when he was on the channel, you know, I told y'all like, hey, listen, shit. I remember when we first sparred, I'm like, boy, ain't no damn way he 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? But let's get to it, man. Jin Saskai, man. Oh, yeah. Yo, Just Duke, what's good with you? Bernard Gilbert, what's going on with it? Andrew Charles, what up with it? Jin Saskai. Now, you know me, man. I could have definitely came on because I was up this morning. You know, I was up this morning. I actually I checked in with Just Do for real. Be honest with you. I could have been going live, but I had to gather my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I actually talked to Brian. Well, I call him Lil B. I talked to Lil B literally maybe like an hour after the fight, chopped it up with him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to disturb him during the week he was gone. But I stayed in touch with his dad because, like I said before, I was definitely supposed to be out there, but I got bumped off my flight. But Brian told me his dad had told him I got bumped off the flight, so everything was everything. But this is one of those fights where I'm starting to see a lot of people say, "Oh well, he was just, Jin Saskai didn't, he was just there to be hit. He had bad feet. He didn't do this and he didn't do that." Damn, I mean, did you guys watch film on this guy before? Because you guys weren't saying this. You guys weren't saying this before the fight. Far as I'm concerned, I looked around on Twitter, I looked around on Instagram and Facebook. All I kept saying is, "Oh, this is a dangerous fight. He should have just took the Boots fight because this fight dangerous. He can get robbed. And Jin Saskai got a high knockout ratio. He can get knocked out." That's what everybody was saying. Everybody was saying that. Literally everybody. What's crazy is I had told myself, I said, you know what, man? I should screenshot this shit because, I should screenshot what the hell everybody's saying. Because the same people who were saying, "Oh, this is going to be a dangerous fight," I don't went to maybe like 5-6 different channels since the fight has been over. Those same people who were saying this is going to be a dangerous fight are now saying, "Oh, he was just there to be hit. He had bad feet. He just trying to survive." Wait a minute. What? But you wasn't just saying that a couple days ago or leading up to the fight. You weren't saying that. So how come all of a sudden now it's a whole different tune? No, don't do that, man. Don't take away a man's victory like that, because that's what you wasn't saying. Now it's okay to be a fan of one guy over there. It's okay. That's okay. But tell the truth, shame the devil, man. Because that's not what you were saying. And I'm not just talking, about certain people. I'm talking about all the individuals that it was. I mean, and listen, social media is so easy nowadays. You can go check and see what people say on tweets. Just go to their profile, pull up their profile, type in a specific word under their profile. Everything they ever said gonna come up. So I ain't capping. I ain't lying. Right? But Jin Saskai, man, listen, at the end of the day, when I knew this fight was signed, me and Big B, we looked into it. Well, he looked into it, and then, I expressed my thoughts about it or whatever. He shared this fight with me, certain fights from Jin Saskai. And the first thing I said was, "Oh, this fight ain't gonna go past 5." I had a person, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I'm gonna drop a video on that as well. I had someone call me and say, "Bro, man, what round you got this fight going? What round you?" I said, "Well, bro, I don't bet on what round, but I'm taking under 5.5." He said, "Well, shit, okay, well, fuck it, I'm gonna just take 5." I said, No, bro, I'm gonna take under 5.5." I said, "But listen, bro, you can do what you want to do, but I'm taking under 5.5. And then he was like, "Bro, I'm gonna take 5." He said, "Bro, this betting shit." So what did I do this morning? Maybe like 2 hours before the fight, I said, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put some money on 5, and I'm gonna put some money on under 5.5." Well, it hit. Coming out, man. Listen, Brian Norman knew the whole entire time. And his dad threw a couple of hints out there. It wasn't no testing for this fight. So he knew he had to get the guy up out of there. That's first off and foremost. And still, I'm not trying to put Jin Saskai down, but even the shots that he got up from and took, He was getting hit with some shit. He was getting hit with some shit, like I said before. Some of y'all favorite fighters, and I ain't gonna put no names on it. I've seen this young man knock out some of y'all favorite fighters in sparring. I done seen it up close and personal, but I'm not putting no names on it or nothing like that. But I've seen him knock out some of y'all favorite fighters and punish some of y'all favorite fighters. That's just the God honest truth. And when I seen Jin Saskai getting hit with some of that shit, I say, man, this fight ain't gonna go long. I actually thought I was gonna lose my bet. Because I remember his dad was telling me, man, shit, he think the fight gonna go 3 rounds. And I was saying 5 rounds. By far, I'm not gonna say by far one of the best performances, because I still believe that the Giovanni Santini was still one of the best fights all the way around. But I still believe that there's about 60%, depending on what type of style you bring to Brian Norman Jr. I think it's still about 60% that you guys seen. I don't think you guys seen that other 40% just yet. You know, and I believe you will see it once the opportunity arises. But you can definitely tell he's gotten better and better and better and better. I know a couple people, you know, I seen somebody say, and matter of fact, in my guy Just Do chat, I seen somebody say he's a generational talent. What's funny about that, I remember when that person was telling me, you know, he ain't been seeing what all the hype that's been surrounding Brian Norman Jr. from all the little sparring stories. Because I think people forget how we got here and how Brian Norman's name was actually brought into the limelight. It all started with Gervonta Tank Davis sparring down here in Atlanta on multiple times. You know, sparring with Bud down here in Atlanta multiple times. Sparring with Charles Conwell down here in Atlanta. Sparring with Jahad Tucker down here in Atlanta. I think a lot of people forget how we got here on Brian Jr. Name. This ain't something that just came about because of Boots. Not at all. Not by far. Not by far. I think a lot of people who just coming and now realizing what's going on or what's taking place, they don't see the progression that this young man had went through. They don't see that. They just see, oh, this fight didn't happen because this, and third. And we're going to get to that point. We're going to get to that point. But speaking on Brian Norman Jr., you've seen him get better and better and better. And like I said, I was seeing somebody in Just Do chat saying a generational talent. Well, I remember when that same person was telling me, like I said before, that they really ain't seen what the hype was about. And I remember specifically telling that individual who was in my guy Just Do chat, I remember telling that individual just these words here: be patient. Be patient with him. When Brian Norman Jr. was first signed to Top Rank, when he first signed with Top Rank, he already had been off for a whole year. When he had his first fight with Top Rank, I already knew he was fighting on one hand. I think he might have had like 3 or 4 fights. Hold on, baby. Hold on. I think he might have had 3 or 4 fights with Top Rank, and people was writing him off because of the performances that they didn't see. Right? But I know for a fact he was only on one hand. Well, when he had 93, I'm not talking about Deontay right now. I'm talking about Brian Norman Jr. Sorry for the inconvenience, my brother. No disrespect at all. But with that being said, I know he was fighting with one hand. After the Boa Chica fight, he had surgery on the hand that was, messed up. And that's when you see in the Santinian fight, it came alive. He came alive. After the Santinian fight, he got the opposite hand fixed. And you saw what he did to Derek Cuevas. And then today, you just see him probably knockout of the year against Jin Saskai. And that's what I was telling people. Give the man time. Like it wasn't my responsibility, nor for me to say that his hands are broken. But that can do a lot to a person's confidence when they got 2 hands. knowing that they got bricks for 2 hands. That can do a lot to a person's confidence. And you're seeing the swag and the confidence right now. That's what you're seeing. You know, and I think a lot of people wrote them off too quick. Now, I seen with someone like, someone say that he getting a lot of hate. Of course, it's always going to be somebody in your division they're going to try to match you up with. It's always going to be that. It's always going to be that. Just like when Bud and Earl was going at it, everybody all of a sudden started screaming boots. But if you've been over here when I was going live regularly, you would know I was the first one saying, well, if somebody can break up Undisputed right now, it can definitely be Jerron Boots Ennis. I was the first person saying that. People thought I was crazy. Not only that, now you got Boots who's going to 154, and then the person that come out of nowhere is Brian Norman Jr. But if you've been over here, you knew I've been had Brian Norman Jr. over here for past 3-4 years. You know that. So now he goes and does what he do over in Japan. And again, like I said, many people were saying, why he going over to Japan? He should have did this. He should have did that. Well, my thing to this is this. Jin Saskai came to his last fight, in which I was at in Las Vegas. He wrote him a 4-page letter, pretty much exercising his thought to get an opportunity to fight for the world championship belt. And that's what he did. That's exactly what he did. He went over there and did what he was supposed to do. Give me a second. Hold on. Sorry about that, man. My daughter fell off the couch. Sorry about that. Yeah, they thugging in the background, bro. They thugging, man. She just got home from going to the park in the car wash with my wife, man. So yeah, they thugging. But back to what I was saying. So now you're seeing Brian Norman Jr., who's physically healthy, both hands properly fixed, properly working, and you see a confident young man. Jin Saskai, again, like I said before, prior to this fight happening, I just believe that nobody did their research based off the things that I was seeing people say. Because 1 minute you can't say, oh, this is a dangerous fight. This is a dangerous fight for him. He can possibly lose this fight. Jin Saskai, a power puncher too. And then on the other side, after the fight, say, oh, well, he was just standing there to be hit. You can't say that, because you was the same person saying this. Y'all, well, I'm not going to say y'all, but the people I was seeing say that were saying the opposite. So which one is it? You can't pick and choose to create your own narrative. Give credit where it's deserved. Because one thing about a world champion, notice I did say world. Hello, world. Notice I said world. When you're a world champion, it don't matter where you go. It don't matter where you go. Once you go around the world and do what you're doing, you consider a world champion, global. What he did today on Juneteenth was magnificent. He imprinted his name and pretty much let the whole 147-pound division know, I'm here. Not only am I here, I'm staying. And this belt is staying with me. He told Jin Saskai, hey, I don't know if y'all watched the press conference or not. Jin Saskai said he was 80% sure or 80% confident. Brian Norman told him straight up. He said, "Well, shit." He probably told the truth about him being 80% confident, but I'm 100% confident in what I can do and my abilities, and I'm in dog shape. Those was his exact words. Those was his exact words. Jin Saskai coming out in the first round. I remember I had people. I'm not gonna say people, but I seen it was a little rumor going around, and somebody sent it to me, and I sent it to the senior because I had no knowledge of it. People were saying that they was recording his workouts and things of that nature. To be honest with you, I contacted Brian Norman Sr. We spoke. He said, "Yeah, it is a camera up in the gym. They are recording the workouts, but we don't give a fuck. They got to stop what's coming. You can't stop what's coming. Just like shit. When Michael Jordan go play every day, you motherfuckers probably watch them practice, but you still got to go stop what's coming. If you can't stop what's coming, what good is it to watch what the hell we doing?" But to piggyback off that, it was actually a good thing because what, from my understanding, is they really wasn't working hard in the gym where he was training at, and because of him being a world champion, they saw how hard Brian Norman was working in the gym. I was told the next couple of days, everybody in that gym was working hard as shit, sweat everywhere. They never seen nothing like it before because of how hard he trained. And I've already told you guys, I know how hard he trained every single day. But the thing about that was Brian Norman Sr. said, it don't matter what they do because we got to drop on them too. And I didn't want to say it then, but I said it on my, I think I said it on somebody live, but we got to drop on them too. And the drop was, he was going to try to come throw the overhand right and catch him like Boa Chica had caught him. What was Jin Saskai first punch? A wild ass overhand right. Go watch the fight again. Am I lying? Hell no. So Brian, he knew what to expect, but he also knew he had to get him out of there because he knew it wasn't no testing for that fight. And that was one of Brian Norman Sr.'s biggest concerns. Caught him in between punches. And of course, he couldn't take the power. Shit, he threw the overhand right for the second time in a row and got caught with a left hook on the top of his head and set him down. Within the first, 10 seconds of the fight, 11 seconds of the fight or something like that. And then another minute go by, he dropped again. You know what I'm saying? But all that, Jin Saskai trying to hype himself up, being hit with that shit, trust me. I've been behind those punches before. I know exactly how they feel. And I know many others, and some of your favorite fighters know how that shit feel too. Trust me. Some of your favorite fighters know how that shit feel too, but I ain't gonna put no names on it. And Jin Saskai got up. You got to give him credit because he kept getting up. But I, with no drug testing, the way he kept getting up from those punches, shit, he might have wanted to stay down because, man, listen, that knockout probably took some. That probably not Jin Saskai. I'm not gonna say he won't be the same, but 9 times out of 10, he probably won't be the same after that knockout. I think by the somebody touch him on the chin like that, or at least have the power that Brian Norman got, he's probably gonna drop even quicker. That was a lethal knockout. His head bounced off the mat 3 different times, falling backwards. Carried out on a stretcher, not even knowing what happened, asking people what happened. He didn't even know what happened. Brian Norman told you, I'm coming and the belt is staying with me. I don't think people understand how hard he worked. I can speak on it because I'm there. Unfortunately, I'm there, so I know how hard he worked. And one thing I always tell Brian, he'll tell you himself, it ain't about what you do to get the belt, it's about what you do to retain the belt. When we spoke earlier today, right after the fight, maybe an hour after the fight, he said, shit, I'll be home tomorrow around about 4:35. And it's time to get right back in the gym. That's his mentality. He ready to get back in the gym. He ready to get back in the gym already. I believe we should see him back no later than October, November, you know. But he ready to get right back into the gym once he returned back home to Atlanta tomorrow. But you got to give credit to Jin Saskai. He was, he did have an 87% knockout ratio. He was ranked. Well, I think he was ranked. He was actually in the Ring magazine. He was actually ranked higher than Brian Norman in the WBO. I believe he was like number 4 in the WBO. He was Japan's best welterweight. He was Japan's best welterweight. So you got to give Jin Sasaki his just due for getting into the ring. He did come to America, but you also got to remember he asked for this. He asked for this, and let alone many people said that Brian Norman, he just dug his biggest payday. Well, he damn sure got paid more than what he was gonna get paid fighting Boots. That's for damn sure. So now people got to come up fight with another narrative. Now, speaking on the boot situation, I do truly believe this was planned by Jerron Boots Ennis. I believe that this was planned to go up in weight. The funny part about it, Brian Norman Jr. said that they was going to try something like this on his fight week. And boy, was he ever right. First, you had Eddie at the beginning of the week. I think it was either on Friday or Saturday of this past weekend. Did an interview stating that Jerron Boots Ennis was going up to 154. And then, of course, Jerron Boots Ennis himself said that he was going up to 154 yesterday. I don't find that by coincidence. I believe it was planned. I definitely believe it was planned. Here's the thing, and people who've been over here, they'll tell you, I've always talked highly of Boots. But the part that I don't respect is him not speaking up for himself. He got his own promotion company. So you really partnering with Eddie. But Eddie is making all the moves like he's the boss and you're the worker. Because if that fight really wanted to get made, this is what the public don't know. People can say Brian Norman does all they want. The first thing first. That fight was never going to get made. And here's why. Eddie Hearn knew he had to pay $20,000 for a step aside before he can even start negotiations. Eddie Hearn never paid the step aside to even consider having negotiation with Brian Norman Jr. That's first off and foremost. The WBO president even came out and said there was no way that fight was going to happen or could be negotiated before Eddie Hearn or whoever paying the step aside fee. That's first off and foremost. So I don't know where you guys get you guys information from and things of that nature or who you listen to. And I know everybody, of course, Boots has a name. So it's public direction to go with the person that's in more of the public name. But that ain't what happened. That ain't what happened. Eddie knew he was supposed to pay the step aside for the mandatory for the IBF, in which he never paid. So whether they was talking about negotiations or not, it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. Eddie never paid the step aside fee. So let's get that understood. Right after that, yes, they was going back and forth, but what people don't know is this. They offered Brian Norman $750,000. They offered Barrios 1.5. They offered Stanionis 1.7. Those are all initial offers. One thing you got to do is give credit to Brian Norman Jr. and Sr. for never name dropping, because they knew the initial offers of the other two champions at the time. They was offered $750,000. Now people gonna sit up here and say, "Well, that's more than he ever made." But when you're negotiating and you know these two over here, not saying compare yourself to other people, but you got to question yourself. Well, hold on, wait a minute. What the fuck has Barrios done that I haven't done? Barrios fought Tank, who is really a 130-pounder, 135-pounder, lost to him at 140. He got his face dismantled against Keith Thurman. Stanionis on the opposite side. Outside of his last fight prior to fighting Boots, what has he done? These guys getting 1.5 and 1.7, but I'm getting a 750. Not only that, it's in your backyard. Okay, cool, no problem. Well, let's try to negotiate this thing. They went from 1.5 to 1.7. Now, people would say they turned down the fight. They never turned down the fight. The fight was never turned down. It was never turned down. They counter offered 1.7. And Brian Norman Sr. publicly said, well, shit, we'll take the 1.7 if you move the fight. All you got to do is move the fight. That's all you got to do is move the fight. I'm going to tell you what they did for the ones who don't know what they did. They moved the fight. Not only did they move the fight, they paid Barrios over $2.2 million, and Jerome Boots Ennis took a pay cut. Now, you got to ask yourself, why the fuck would you take a pay cut when this guy right here said, well, we'll take the 1.7 if you move the fight? Didn't they move the fight any damn way? Didn't they move the fight any damn way? Yes or no? The fight was supposed to be in Philadelphia, right? Wasn't that fight in Atlantic City? Didn't they move the fight? Oh, I think I'm saying something now. There's a lot of people getting hush mouth now. the chat ain't moving no more. Hello, world. The chat ain't moving no more. Hello, world. I'm trying to tell you, the chat ain't moving no more. Yes, that's exactly what happened. They moved the fight. Not only did you move the fight, we would have took the 1.7. All you had to do was move it. Y'all moved it anyway and still had your fighter take a pay cut. Jerome Boots Ennis said he took a pay cut out his own mouth. He said that. And I think everybody missed this part too. Eddie kind of dropped the ball in the press conference as well. He said that Stanionis got paid more than Boots. Make this shit make sense, people. Make this shit make sense. But we are so quick to call somebody a duck. Nobody never turned the fight down. Let's go to the second part of negotiations. Jerome Boots Ennis fought in April. Brian Norman fought in March. There was no offer between that time after Jerome Boots Ennis fought, up until the fight was signed with Jin Saskai. Now, Eddie Hearn did call and say, let's try to lock in for let's try to lock in after you guys, let's try to lock in before you guys fight over in Japan. Eddie Hearn brought this upon himself. He went on record and saying, I told those guys, hey, let's make a deal for after you guys fight. We can talk about it. That was a lie. He never said that. That's why you seen Brian Norman Jr. himself retweeted off Eddie Hearn page, who retweeted the interview with a whole bunch of laughing emojis, because he said, let's sign the fight. Let's sign the fight before you guys go to Japan. Why the hell will I do that? Because today's price is not yesterday's price. And here's the part that kind of get me as well. There's another fighter on Top Rank that's on 147 pounds who his coach brought to my attention that they could possibly be fighting Brian Norman Jr., even though I haven't heard nothing about it. His dad haven't heard nothing about it, nor his managers. He personally told me on March 22nd. He personally told me he called Bozy Ennis himself and said, I'm trying to find out, how we need to move, because if you guys are moving up or if Boots ain't gonna move up, I need to see how we gonna move so we can get to a championship fight. He personally told me that Bozy Ennis told him March 22nd when he told me that Bozy Ennis said that they was moving up, but he told me I couldn't say nothing. So I knew that Boots was moving up. I even called Senior and told him. So I knew Boots was moving up. It's not a surprise, but what surprises me is that Brian Norman Jr. himself said they was going to try some fuck shit on his fight week. And what was it? Oh, Sunday or Saturday or whatever day it was, he did an interview stating that Jerron Boots Ennis was moving up. The day before, yesterday, Jerron Boots Ennis announces that he's moving up to 54. But people will tell you that Brian Norman ducked, but they don't give you all the facts. I heard somebody say today, oh, they offer him $2 million. They never offer no $2 million. Stop the cap. They never offer no $2 million. Stop the cap, man. In fact, it wasn't even no deal. They had said, well, guess what? We'll talk to you guys after. We don't want to talk or discuss no business right now until after we fight. And that's when Eddie Hearn said, well, I'm trying to get let's make this fight happen before you guys go over there. And that's when it was said, no, we're not doing that right now. But what people don't know, and I have privy to, I know for a fact that Brian Norman managers, Jolene and AC Clark, contacted Eddie Hearn after he did that interview. Not once, but twice, and left text messages. You think Eddie Hearn responded to them? No, not at all. I remember being on the phone with Brian Norman Sr. the night that Boots beat Stanionis, after Boots said that Brian Norman is trash. He texts Bozy Ennis and said, we want that fight next. Y'all don't need to fight nobody else. We want that fight next. You think Bozy Ennis texts back? Hell no. They knew they was going up to 54. They knew that. But my whole thing is, why did Eddie try to act like they wanted that fight? Because they know they had the mandatory. And nobody wanted to see that fight. That's why. That's why. So when people say, oh, Brian Norman, that I don't never say Boots duck. I always say, blame Eddie Hearn. Blame Eddie Hearn. We done seen this page before, people. He did the same shit with Wilder and Joshua. We done seen this before. But for whatever reason, y'all want to go with the blue-eyed Barbie. I know for a fact the fight that Brian Norman Jr. wanted after the soccer fight was definitely Jerron Boots Ennis. I know that for a fact. He told his dad that, and he told his managers that. That is a fact. Because he was tired of hearing y'all say the bullshit. That's the truth. He was really tired of y'all hearing that bullshit from y'all. And he was going to prove to y'all that y'all wrong. Y'all dead ass wrong. I told you, confidence a motherfucker, especially when you got 2 bricks in your gloves. When you got 2 bricks in your gloves, it's a motherfucker. You feel me? But now we got to sit here and say, shit, what's next for Brian Norman? What fight do you guys want to see Brian Norman next in? What guys y'all want to see Brian? What fight y'all want to see Brian Norman in next? I'm gonna be honest with you. It gotta be the Devin Haney fight. It gotta be the Devin Haney fight. And I'm gonna say here's why. I was probably about the only person who didn't condone in the whole Ryan and Devin bullshit, because I respect Devin. I respect what he's done. I respect what he's doing. I have a good relationship with his father, Brian Norman Sr. He respect what the Haney's doing. Never said anything bad about the Haney's at all. But Devin Haney misspoke, and he was out of pocket for that. Devin Haney said that Brian Norman Jr. was ass. All because somebody tweeted Devin Haney and said that. All because somebody tweeted Devin Haney and said, Brian Norman said your name. I tweeted Devin Haney and said, bro, you dead ass wrong, because that's not what happened. Brian Norman Sr. said out his own mouth, he said, man, I respect the Haneys. I'll have no ill will. I don't have nothing bad to say about them. But they did have my son's name on the list. So we would like that fight. Never said anything wrong. But Devin Haney, because somebody tweeted him and said, Brian Norman Jr. said your name, which was false, because I know for a fact that Brian Norman Jr. wanted the Jerron Boots in his next fight next. So by Devin Haney saying that, you gotta own up to that, Devin, because you said he was ass when that man ain't even said your name. He saw the hit list. He still didn't say your name because he was only focused on getting past Jin Saskai to fight Boots. But since you said he was ass, now you got to show the people that he's ass. Not only that, Devin Haney, I fuck with you, bro, but you also copped the plea. Your plea out of that was, oh, he gonna try to price himself out. Well, shit, if you giving the same numbers that you giving T.O., the 11 million and the 5 million, and the Hitchinson numbers, I promise you he would gladly accept. I promise you he would gladly accept, and you're going to have to prove to the world that he's ass. I just believe that Devin Haney broke off more than he can chew. Because you just ain't going to say I'm ass and then go fight somebody else. No. I'm going to welcome you to 147. I'm going to welcome you to 147. And now listen, like I said before, I like Devin. I'm about the only person on YouTube who didn't do no videos on Ryan and Devin. Because if you're a cheater, you're a cheater. Now, Ryan was a fucking cheater. And all the back and forth shit that was going on after that, I'm not into that. I'm not into that. But I do believe that by Devin saying that, those are fighting words. Am I right or am I right? If you say I'm ass and I'm the champion with Devin Haney, your dad, Bill, contacted Brian Norman Sr. and wanted Brian Norman Jr. to help you get ready for your last fight. Now, if I'm right, tell me I'm right. If I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong. But you don't bring nobody to camp to get ready for your next fight who's ass, right? You don't want nobody in your camp helping you get ready for your fight, ass. You don't want nobody on your hit list, ass, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Would y'all put an ass fight on y'all hit list? Would you invite somebody to help you come get ready for a fight that's ass? Would you? Now, I know we got a lot of Devin fans in here, but let's keep it 1,000. Like I said, I like Devin myself. I think that'll be a magnificent fight. But I do believe that he broke off more than he can chew. I do believe he broke off more than he can chew. Because there's no way in hell, if I'm getting ready for a fight, if you ask, no, I need all the best work I can get. I'm not going to say you ass. I'm not going to do that. And I'm damn sure not gonna say a fighter ass and go fight somebody else. Those are fighting words. You gotta see me. You gotta see me. You know? And I'm just being transparent. You know what I'm saying? Growling with Saw, he say, man, Devin should have stayed clear from B. Norman Jr. Devin's a master class boxer, but B. Norman is a different type of monster. You damn sure right about that. Nick J, what's up with you? Say, you ain't lying. I want to see it. I want to see it as well. And like I say, I like Devin, dog. But y'all know LeBron Norman, that's little brother, man. That's little bro. You know what I mean? So I fuck with Devin. I fuck with him and his dad. I don't got it ain't no ill will or nothing. But when you say those things and you misspeak, you gotta handle that. You gotta handle that. You said he asshole. It shouldn't be no other fight. Go ahead and erase T off your mind. Go ahead and erase Hitchens off your mind. And go ahead and just, send that old contract over to B. Norman. That same amount you was trying to give T.O. or Turkey or whoever. Go ahead and send it. I promise you to get signed. Promise you it'll get signed. I fuck with them both, but them fighting words. Absolutely. It's fighting words, for sure. You're not going to say I'm ass and then don't fight me. Come prove to me that I'm ass. You know what I'm saying? So, I just believe that, in the midst of all this turmoil, globally, Brian Norman Jr. is the hot topic right now. Not only is he a hot topic, he solidified that with a brutal, devastating knockout. Probably knockout of the year. I mean, damn, did y'all see Jin Saskai land there? Pretty much looked like he was lifeless. Carried out on a stretcher. But, salute to the Japanese and Japanese people over there, because they definitely was a class. They definitely been a class for sure. That's one thing that B told me today. He said, man, bro, they different over here. They different over here. But I have been telling y'all for a long time, if anybody know about his power, I know. And I've been knowing for a long time. He's 24 now. So that's been 10 years I've been knowing about this. I think the last time me and Brian Norman sparred was right before he had surgery on his right hand back in June. Yeah, back in June. That's the last time we sparred. So I know about the power. I've been sparring this man for years. But we gotta quit all the duck talk shit. We gotta quit all that, because it kind of reminds me of the Bud and Spence shit. People were saying that Bud ain't fought nobody. Now, while I was telling people during that whole turmoil, I was telling people, listen, you got to give both fighters they just do, because if one of your fighters don't win, what that's going to say about the fighter that you've been lifting up? If I'm saying Bud ain't fought nobody, or this, and the third, or he Cheney this, and the third, and he go and beat Earl, in which he did, now a lot of Spence fans can't really give credit to Bud simply because they dog Bud ass out. Or if the roles was vice versa. If people say Earl was just, he fight one-dimensional style, he can't do this and do that, and he beat Bud, now the Bud fans can't say, oh, well, they can't give Earl his just due. You see what I'm saying? So we got to give these fighters they just do. Notice I've never blamed Boots. The only thing I blame Boots on taking part of this is by him having his own promotion company and never speaking up. And the times he spoke up, he went along with Eddie Hearn was saying. And that shit just fucked me all up. I'm like, Boots, you know damn well. Boots sit up there and told that fat ass lie in that press conference saying that we offered him $2 million. knowing damn well they never offered $2 million. But what you did do was take $500,000 of your own money and give it to Stanionis, and he made over $2.2 million. So if Eddie Hearn said that Stanionis made more than you, how much did you make, Boots? Because from my understanding is, Brian Norman Sr. said, shit, we'll take the 1.7. All you got to do is move the fight. And what did they do? They end up still moving the fight and paying Stanionis more. And Jerron Boots Ennis took a pay cut. You didn't have to take a pay cut, bro. All you had to do was tell Eddie to move the fight. I don't see how hard that is for people to understand. Like I say, I only blame Boots for one thing, and that's not speaking up. Everything is on Eddie. But then again, you got some dumbass individuals who just don't understand. And that's the part that's very disheartening, because you got to keep it 1,000%. You got to keep it 1,000%. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep it 1,000%. I want to see B. Norman versus Boots. Simple as that. No, for sure. I want to see it myself. I want to see it myself. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. At least right now. You know what I'm saying? At least right now. But I do feel as if, it could have been handled. I just think that, you know what I'm saying, when you make bad decisions, such as they did, but everybody would tell you Brian Norman made a bad decision. How did he make a bad decision? Because he went and made the same amount, damn near what Stanionis just got paid. After people said he missed his biggest payday. How? Macadocious Mac of the South, what's good with you? But yeah, man, listen, that knockout was crazy. Damn. I don't really too much know what else to say, dog. Like I said before, I've said for just be patient. I told people just be patient with them. Because I get it. I get it. People was, growing stubborn from not seeing what they heard about in sparring. I get it. I totally get it. I can't fault y'all for that. But I was telling people just be patient. It's going to come. But I never did want to say he had hand problems at the time. And that ain't my place to say. But now that both of them fixed, you see what you witnessed the last 3 fights. I appreciate that, family. Appreciate that, Macadocious, for sure. Shit, I'm going live tomorrow, too. Adrian said, Eddie ruined another great fight. This is the same motherfucker who sent Brooke against GGG. Absolutely. Tay, what's up with you? But I just, it's man. And sometimes I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Sometimes it's really hard to talk about these things because I'm privy to so much from different fighters. I just try to give y'all the real spiel on how the public trying to spin it when it's not what people think. I firmly believe had Jerron Boots Ennis spoke up or even talked to Brian Norman himself, or even Bozy picking up the phone, having a conversation with Senior, and still to this day never returned those text messages. I think it'd be a lot more clarity, you know what I'm saying? Instead of letting Eddie handle it, and he been lying. He been lying to y'all. He said Shakur need to go see B. Norman hand surgeon. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Happy Juneteenth as well. People fall for it. He said, just do. My guy say people fail for the banana in the apple tailpipe with Eddie Hearn bullshit. Absolutely. And I'll be saying like, listen, I forget what fight it was when people said that. I forget what fight it was when people says this person ducking. I'm like, listen, it's hard for me to believe that fighters are ducking each other. It's hard for me to believe that. Now, it's either you say yes or you say no. But in this term, in this aspect, it was never a no said. Other than saying, well, just move the fight. Other than saying, we're gonna talk and negotiate after we fight Sasaki. Never said no. And I just don't think people understand that. You know what I'm saying? But it was another particular fight when they were saying two fighters were scared to fight each other. I'm saying, how? Do y'all not know that these fighters go, before they even professionals, they go fight all around the world, not knowing who they gonna fight. They go fight all around the world, not knowing who they go fight when they go to these tournaments. When they go in these tournaments, they put in brackets. They find out the night before who they fighting next. So this is something that they have been doing over years and years and years and years. So it's hard for me, and people say, well, why are you talking about the amateurs? Because it replicates what's going on. If you already in a bracket and you don't know who you're going to fight, as to where in the pros, it's hard to believe. It's hard for me to believe that these guys are scared to fight each other because you've already fought a person you don't know who you're going to fight the day before. You don't know who you're going to fight when you're in these tournaments. So to say that this person's scared of this person, I don't believe that, because guess what? When you're in those tournaments, you don't know who you're fighting. You're just going to get your ass in there and fight. What's up, PGH Big Dog? What's good? You know what I'm saying? So I think people just got to stop with that shit, man. At the end of the day, like I said before, I never blame Boots. The only thing I said that Boots should have spoke up. But I've always blamed Eddie. Always have. It was bullshit. Like I said before, the first part of those negotiations that was all over the internet, that shit was never going to happen. Eddie never paid the step aside fee to the IBF mandatory at the time to even have discussions about a fight happening. So now you got to ask yourself, well, why did Eddie do that? Especially when the WBO president himself came out and said Boots if they would have made a fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jerron Boots Ennis during the first period of time they was talking about fighting each other, Boots would have been stripped. Boots would have been stripped. So when people talk this, oh, he ducking this and this and the third, or he 1.7 and I, listen, man, that shit is all entertainment because it was never going to happen in the first fucking place. I just wish that people would have looked at Jin Saskai and done their homework first. And now people are saying, oh, he was just a walking punching bag and this, and the third. When those same people that I saw saying that was the same people saying that this was a dangerous fight with Brian Norman. But I always said that this fight wasn't going to go past 5. Brian knew he had to get him out of there. We didn't know if he was going to be on drugs or not because it wasn't no testing. And he did. He told you he was going to leave with the belt and is here to stay with him. And he's going to leave back to America with it. And he'll be here tomorrow at 4:35, back with that belt. Yeah, the boxing politics, man, they killing the sport with this bullshit, man, for sure. But I believe that Brian Norman definitely would be back late September, October, probably November. You're going to be right back. Going to try to give you 3 fights. Said Right, PJ's big dog. And PEDs could have helped Suzuki. It's hilarious to hear people come online and talk as if they have insight to the camp and business. Yeah, man. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they gonna go to the UK channels because Eddie got control over them. You know what I'm saying? Eddie got control over them. They not gonna ask no questions to Eddie. They gonna just do as he say. But I guarantee you, you bring Eddie over here to the brothers, they gonna question his ass. And we wouldn't have all this bickering and back and forth type of shit. I guarantee you that. That's why Eddie don't come to those channels. Name one channel that he came to. Name one channel you seen Eddie on that's a brother. That's a brother. Let me know. Because you ain't going to see it. But, man, I know I actually got to get on with I'm actually going to go live with Stormy B, man. I think in an hour. Yeah, in an hour, I'm going to go live with Stormy B, man, because he said 8 o'clock his time, so that's Central. So it's 8 o'clock now. So in an hour, I go live with Stormy B, man, and we're going to talk about the fight some more. But, man, you got to give your props and just doing flowers to Brian Norman Jr., man. He did what he said he was going to do. He did it in a dramatic fashion. I actually told him, I said, boy, you got one of them Wilder knockouts. He said, man, I love Deontay, bro. You know I do, but nah, this the Norman knockout. So, hey, man, you seen the Norman knockout today. You can definitely tell he's getting better in each and every fight. He's growing into the weight class. He's growing into himself. I even heard people saying that, you know, he can go to 154 and things of that nature. What people don't know is Brian Norman, before he always fought at 47, right? He always fought at 47, but he was in a 140-pound frame. Going over to the fight to Japan, he was like 150, 152 going over there. So he didn't, if you look at the weigh-in, he didn't have no bone density. So he still got way enormous amount of time to stay at 147. Well, we're going to get back live tomorrow. I'm definitely going to go live tomorrow. I don't know what time just yet, but I'm definitely going to go back live tomorrow. Of course, later on that day, I'm going to have Brian Norman Sr. on. Probably going to have Junior on as well. So I know I'm going to get that interview as well. So I'm going to have Junior and probably have Senior on as well later on tomorrow. And with that being said, I'm out. Love, peace, happiness. And hello, world.
Before the paper, I knew they would say, and I knew by the looks on their faces. Niggas mad cause I did what they wouldn't do, say what I couldn't do. Look, bitch, I made it. I made it. Came a long way from the basement. Fighting on me, I ain't playing, y'all. These niggas ain't playing fair. If I would've known better, I'd do better. Took some mess and I learned from a new level. Bought some new shovels and some new stressors. And I'm ready for war like whoever. They counted me out, I can't count it all. Cause little nigga, I ball. I put them points on the board every time that I shoot, I'ma score, and you know I'm a dog. I'm really appalled, don't need no applause. I know I'm a legend, my name on the wall. First ranking with platinum, my second with gold. Did it independent, no deal at all. And they said it's impossible. Got them high cause I did them without them though. I'm the same nigga slept on the carpet floor. Even back then I knew that I'd be poppin', so I really ain't trippin'. I swear I ain't trippin'. I got in my feelings and got me a million. Couple people I thought would be with me, but they not, so it's fuck all them niggas. And then you next.